Hi, this is Ray from loveyourrv.com, and I got quite a surprise today when I went to get some ice cubes and found out the ice was half water. Checking into it, I found out the refrigerator wasn't working. I was using it in electric mode, and I switched it to gas mode, and within a few hours everything was back to normal. Tried it in electric mode again, and same thing, no cooling. So I've determined that there's a problem with the electric operation of the refrigerator, and I'm going to explore a little further and try to troubleshoot what's wrong with it. It's a Dometic DM2652 DBX model refrigerator. So here's the guts of the beast. You can break it into a few sections. Over here is where our electrical comes in, the DC voltage and the AC voltage. And we got part of the cooling unit here, the piping. And behind here, look back in there, you can see the flue. And that's where you get on gas mode, the little blue flame shows up. Or in electric mode, there's a heater element that sits in there. So I'm going to peel back a few more covers and let you see. Okay, there's 3 covers off. This kind of wood cover goes up top. And that was sort of Keystone put that in there, and it kind of covers a channel for the wiring for the fridge. And then on here, in the flue, there's a metal cover there. Kind of hides the gas area. And then the tricky cover, as you can see in here, there's a control board, and that has this black cover on there. There's one screw up top, but on the side here, there's kind of a little bit of plastic clips on each side, over here, and there, when it goes on, it just snaps on, but it's kind of a beast to get off. You got to kind of pry it with a screwdriver in there and get the plastic clips to release. But anyway, that does come off. So the first thing I did for troubleshooting was to check the fuses. I have the AC power unplugged and the battery unplugged, so I have absolutely no power into this control board. And I have my multimeter. I set it into test mode for testing conductivity. And just go across that fuse right there, and I have good continuity. There's also another fuse inside this black cover here on the red wire, and I've checked that as well. So both my fuses in there are testing fine. Next step is I'm going to apply power and test to see whether I have DC power and AC power coming in. So I referred to the owner's manual, and it tells me what the power should be at all the connectors, and I've gone through and tested them all. I have proper DC power everywhere, and coming in here I have AC power and AC power going into the control board. So the next thing to troubleshoot is the element, to see if the electrical element is actually operational. It's quite common for them to burn out, apparently, so it's plugged into the board here and here, and the wire, they have it wrapped around and goes up into here and just sits inside the flue right here. So we'll pull those plugs out and test. It should have some type of resistance to it. Okay, the screws you have to take off on the inside, on my model at least, is there's 4 of them up here. You got one in the corner, and then there's one under this aluminum tape, so I'll retape that when I do that, up again. And on the other corner, same thing, one here and one here. And then this front top bezel just unclips right underneath here. You can see where there's a snap, so there's a slot there and you just push in a screwdriver and then the whole thing pops out. And down low there's a couple screws right there and right there. So once you have those 6 screws and the bezel off, that's all you have to do as far as the front of the fridge goes to get it to pull back. I'm taking apart the fridge to pull it out. I was able to do it without disconnecting any gas at all. I just had to take out a number of screws. These 2 here, these 2 back here, one recessed under there, that's your burner, and then one right here. Then when it pushed forward, this was the gas injector was able to just pull out without having to disconnect any gas at all, which was kind of nice. The other screws that needed to be taken out were over here on the one corner and the other corner. And again, the 12-volt wires taken out. The AC cable, and I was able to pull the fridge straight into the RV. Okay, I managed to wrestle the fridge right out of the opening, and you can see it. Luckily, my trusty toolbox out of my truck was a perfect height, so I was able to slide it just straight out onto that. And Beagle's inspecting it, making sure the situation's okay. She's like, "Hey, there's a new window." So you can see here's the opening it came out of. Just had to undo a few screws here, undo the gas, and then you can see 12 volt. I've taped it up. A little bit of water came from the tube in the fridge that leaks water outside. And just had to unplug it there. I'll give you a view up into the stack. You can see everything's pretty clear, no bird's nests or anything. The black pipe you see is the vent for the galley sink. And a lot of wiring here, so this is a good place if you need to run wires through your coach, because actually pulling the fridge isn't too bad. And Keystone puts in this little panel that comes off too, and then behind that is another channel where you can run wires. Just thought I'd give you a look at that while I have it apart. And this is the Cougar 276 RLS WE fifth wheel. On the back of the fridge, you see the cooling fins. This is the fan you hear running. It cycles on and off depending on the temperature, and it just helps draw air to cool your piping there. And we go down, 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 and you can see the tube that gets rid of excess water from inside. Down here behind there was that control board I showed you before. Right here is where I unhooked the DC, unhooked the AC here. And then here's the meat of the problem. This is where the element goes in. So you can see I'm going to have to take this apart and change my element. So stay tuned for that. You can see once the fridge is out, it's a lot easier to perform the task. You have to open the, I guess they call this the boiler cover or whatever, but it's hooked together, these flanges, which you'll never get reaching in there. You'll kill your arms or cut yourself or something like that. But once that's all apart, this pops out pretty easy, and then you can just slide that up. Let's get that out of there. Go. Slowly coming. Let's work back the insulation a bit. You can see it goes into this piping right here. So it's a little corroded. A little bit of rust in there, making a little step to come out. There we go. That's the open element right there. Kind of disappointed it failed just out of warranty, just after 2 years. Packs it in, goes open, not sure why. We use it a lot, of course, because we live in it pretty well full time, so it's always on, but that's the sucker there. Just a comparison between the old element and the brand new element. There's the old one. You can see it's got quite a bit of corrosion on it. It's been used. New one all shiny new. And I hooked up my multimeter. If you're testing it, you want to be on the ohm scale. And the new one measures 41.4 ohms. And it's a model 3850644422. And that's for my Dometic refrigerator model 2652 LBX. DM2652 LBX. Sorry about that. And I'll show you the measurements of the old one. And the old one, hooked up to the meter on mine, measures OL, which means open. No current can pass through that element. I think once I get this fixed up, I'll take that apart and see what, maybe something in that plastic kind of connector is open in there. Anyway, I always like to explore, curious. There it is installed, and I got the boiler cover back on. Wasn't too much of a struggle. And you can see this zip strap here. That's where the factory put one, so I've put one too. I guess that keeps it from moving around too much. And this is why it pays to pull it out and inspect everything. Just having a look at everything, I found the drain hose right here is actually wide open. Looks like it's they run it along here, and heating over time causes the plastic to kind of degrade, and I got a nice wide opening there, so looks like I'm gonna have to replace that. Okay, check the gas operation now. Yeah, fired nicely. I got a nice blue flame happening there. Everything looks good. The other thing you hear is my furnace cranked on. Now I'm going to fire on the fridge, and it should work on the electrical element. You can see here my Progressive Industries surge protector is showing me 2 amps. So once I turn it on, it should bounce up another 2 or 3 amps. So let's see if it works. Go over to here, click it on auto mode, doesn't check, fires onto auto. Let's go over here, 5 amps. And that's what I would expect it to draw, 325 watts, you know, 120 volts, so you're going to expect about 3 amps of extra draw. Made a final check of my voltages. Right down there, I'm getting about 117.8 volts, which should be expected. Let's just check our 12 volt input. Try not to short anything out here. So I have 13.5, which I expect right now. It's in charging the batteries. And I can kind of hear it clicking a little bit as the new element heats up. So we'll have to leave that for a few hours. Hopefully she'll cool now. There's the current fridge temperature. Nice and cold. We'll give it a few hours on electric and see if it can maintain that. There we are. I've given it an hour or so to run, and it's actually dropped in temperature a degree or two, so it's working. Yay! I went out and checked, and just feeling the flue back there. Everything's nice and warm, so the element's working as it should and drawing the correct current. Voltages look good, and it's cooling. And I'm a happy camper again. Thanks for watching.